Well, the first time I came here, it was really interesting because I'm not kidding. You know, a lot of times when you go to a new racetrack, they'll say, well, if you get a little bit high here, you might brush the wall. Or if you get too low here, you're going to miss the turn. We were hearing stories, okay, if you hang a wheel off getting into the carousel, you're going to flip. I'm like, what do you mean you're going to flip? How does that work? And we saw cars do just that. And one of the cars that did just that was me. I was qualifying. I made it through turn 1. I didn't get through turn 2, off into the tires and over I went. The crazy thing about that was the team was in the garage area unloading a backup car. And so when I flipped over, I got out of the car and I got on top of it, which was the bottom of it, because it was upside down. And I'm like, the wheels were still pointing in the right direction. And I got back here and I told the team, I said, we can fix it. We can fix it, I promise, it's not hurt. And they're like, we got to get him to the hospital. He done hit his head. And we pulled the car back to the garage area, and sure enough, they got to looking. The tires were all pointing in the right direction. The car was bent, every corner of it was bent up, but we took a hammer and some duct tape and beat out the body, and I raced that car on Sunday afternoon, and I finished in the top 10 with it. So that was my first experience at Sonoma, and probably one of my favorites. We were able to finish in the top 5 a couple of times, and my best finish I think was 4th back in '04. So had some great runs, but that memory certainly sticks out. Well, back in the late '90s, they took out the carousel and added the chute.
That's right.
And so I'm like, well, that carousel was actually kind of cool. One of my favorite parts of the track.
Okay.
But the fans seemed to be able to view more racing by the chute, so that was cool. But when I heard talk of it was coming back, I can't wait for these young racers to experience it and see what it's really like. It's gonna make it crazy entering the carousel, because when you head toward the carousel, you're going uphill. And I remember back in the day when I was going uphill, I kept thinking, I hope that road's still over that hill when I get there, because you can't see what you're doing. And the competition, racing side by side and tight like these guys race, it'd be really interesting to see how they handle it. I think we're gonna see more passing in that area of the racetrack than we ever have before.